go. Here we are. We're live again. I named it part two, but for some reason the other one now is called part two.
That's what I'm saying. It's crazy.
Well, it is what it is. There's two part twos now. Okay. We're back. We're back with two part twos. So yes.
The,
And,
the second part too.
and the second part two, yeah. And while we're out, it's while that whatever that was happened. This is I just want to mention again, this MG is literally it's an infantry just an infantry killer. I mean like incredible. Because remember, if you have 3 anti-infantry damage and you're attacking a unit, you're already gonna do 1 damage. Most likely from Overwatch. It must have walked to your hex. There's a high chance it's just gonna wipe any unit out, which is just crazy. Don't get involved in this bad boy if you're gonna capture points. Okay, let's get down to the Kubelwagen. The Kubelwagen. First edition,
Wagen.
Kubelwagen. Is a Lux? Lux is for the OKW, so we'll get to that in another way. So the Kubelwagen in the first edition, 2 health, nothing changed there. 2 range, nothing's changed there. 1 infantry damage, nothing's changed there. You did bring up the symbol for healing. You didn't bring up symbol. I'm sorry. You added it can transport, and you brought it up. The symbol used to be able to capture here. You cleaned it up a little bit, put it up here, and gave it that speed dice that it has. But interesting now is it costs 1 experience point now to allow it to unlock reinforcement. And which is incredible. People don't understand the value of this. For 2 munitions, you gave it a second speed dice. I mean, isn't some would argue with the 1 decrease on fuel, it used to be 2 fuel, now it's 1. Some would argue this is almost a little too much mobility. Do you see what I'm trying to say? You can grab a unit, put it in there.
I don't disagree. I mean, that kind of. So, yeah, to get right into it, because, I mean, you pretty much covered all the changes, right? So, I mean, the key thing, again, is that all Tier 1 light vehicles have transport now. So we could see that. And then, with that in mind, again, we already touched on the infantry in part 1 of part 2. We kind of touched on that the Wehrmacht infantry, their only real weakness, they're very versatile units, very flexible, but their only weakness is they typically don't have speed dice, so they're not that mobile. So then to make up for it, the their kind of light vehicles now can kind of go in a different direction, if that makes sense, because now they have more flexibility. So the Kubelwagen here can get that second speed die, and like it doesn't have a defense upgrade, it doesn't have an attack upgrade, so its role is kind of very easily clear set for someone that's new to either the game or new to second edition. Like it's going to be obvious what this is good at, right? Like
Yeah.
you kind of said, it's just good at speeding around and just capturing points, right? And you can also do it to transport your units. So it just really excels at that role. And then if a unit, needs to be reinforced, it can just tack on reinforce. So again, that's kind of, you can use that reactively. You could wait till the unit's damaged and grab it in the supply phase, and at the end it'll reinforce it. So it just really gives you that whole package, and is very easy to see what role it's good at. And again, obviously the fuel reduction was also part of that tier 1 light vehicle buff, if you will, across the board for every faction. So just to make them see play a little bit more and not really slow down your tier 3 that much.
Yeah.
So
It's is this trying to think, is this the if light vehicles 2 speed dice? Because I don't think the Jeep has 2 speed dice.
right,
And
yeah,
the British don't have 2
yeah,
speed
yep.
dice. This is really mobile. And when it comes to mid to late game, when you're having a problem capturing points, but you have a lot of resources, you're like, I need to get something out there. This is a great counter because normally you have to get infantry to do the work. With 2 speed dice plus another move for 5, I mean, this is a great mid to late game vehicle also to get back out there to capture points,
Certainly.
because that
Yeah.
always becomes the issue later on in the game is I need to build infantrymen. They don't move fast enough, and you can tell here with the design, there's no speed dice on these units here, and this is the response to it. Put them in the cool wagon and let it do the work for you. Love that balancing act there, Brian. That's
Yeah, I mean, it also kind of balances. Like, if you compare it to the U.S. and Wehrmacht, which are very similar factions, the U.S. rifleman has more flexibility in its damage output, and then to counterbalance it with the Kubelwagen and the Jeep, the Jeep can get the AI upgrade. So again, that kind of focuses more on what the U.S. is good at, whereas the Wehrmacht is a little bit more focused in just overall unit versatility out of the gate,
Hmm.
and kind of their kind of awesome little predefined roles that other units don't really have. And then that's kind of where we see this Kubelwagen fall in, where nothing quite can do what it can do with that speed die,
Right.
out of anyone's core units. So that's kind of, yeah, he's just kind of giving you a quick glance of the tier ones, and really just the Jeep is kind of just a different play style.
Yeah.
So it could kind of almost hunt down
Yeah.
infantry on its own, or it can also, like, just pairing it with riflemen, you can very easily get up to 4 AI.
Yeah.
It's just really scary. And again, that kind of goes into the US theme. So I mean, that's pretty much it for the tier one. I mean, you can just kind of see that their options are very clear and just so distinct from other factions as we go through the other factions, that they're just you just don't get this kind of versatility out of a tier one. Yeah, where it lacks, it makes up in other ways. So
Correct. And man, this is nice. This is very nice. Tier two. Let's get into tier. That is, I mean, I have to almost come back to this. This Kubelwagen. I mean, if you take advantage of that speed dice here, man, it can be such a victory point harasser. It's almost, what is that? For the OKW, you have that one vehicle that's invisible. What is
yep,
that
the
thing?
Kettenkrad.
Kettenkrad. It's like a juiced up version of a Kettenkrad that can attack. Literally, it's what it is.